in the headlines. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt represents Dominica at G77 plus China summit in Cuba. Domlec blames dry spell for power outages. And President of Dominica State College advocates for electoral reform integrity. Welcome to Kyrie TV News. I'm your presenter Vanessa Bruno. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more after the break.
Hello, OECS.
Yo, OECS, this is your ocean. If I am to protect your future, we have to work together. It's the time to work together. If I am to help protect your future. Once I used to be so pure and clean, and those hills were so fresh and green. But now you see me as your dumping ground. The current situations has me choking on your pollution. Think hard about it. You will agree that really there is no you without me. Make the zero waste pledge, be responsible. Reduce your waste, recycle where possible. It's down to you, so make the commitment. Recycle for blue oceans and our betterment. Recycle OECS, green actions, blue oceans. For blue oceans and our betterment.
Welcome back. First up, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt is attending the G77 plus China summit in Havana, Cuba this weekend. The summit, consisting of leaders from the group of 77 developing countries and China, will run from September 15th to the 16th under the theme, The Current Challenges of Development, Role of Science and Technology and Innovation. In Mr. Skerritt's absence, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Finance, will act as Prime Minister. Mr. Skerritt's presence at the G77 China Summit underscores Dominica's commitment to collaboration and finding innovative solutions to address the complex development challenges of our time. In other top stories, Dominica's sole electricity company Domlec is taking steps to reduce incidents of power outages across the country. Alia Jacques tells us more.
General Manager at Domlec, Bertilia McKenzie, says the extended dry spell has been a factor in the recent increase in power outages on island. For the past few weeks, Dominica has been plagued with island-wide power outages, both scheduled and unscheduled. Many Dominicans were surprised on Thursday by an island-wide power outage. The general manager explained that this is due to the freshwater lake losing almost 5 meters of water and various plants failing in consecutive order.
A fault on the system resulted in the loss of the Sugarloaf power plant, then the Fokole power plant, and then the hydropower plants, causing a complete shutdown. So everyone on island was without power from Domlec. And so we want to apologize to our customers, to Dominica in general, for today's event. But not only for today's event, for the many occasions of loss of service through load shedding. I don't like that word too much. I prefer load management, which has been occurring over the last several months.
Speaking to media on Thursday, McKenzie explained there are several reasons why the company is now seeing a capacity generation shortfall.
One, we have been seeing in 2023 increased consumption, what you call increased load. So our peak so far for the year is 17.62 megawatts. Just juxtapose that or compare that with 2021, where we had a peak of 16.38 megawatts. So that's over 1 megawatt in additional consumption by our customers. And in 2022 of 16.35 megawatts as well. Compare this with an aging generation fleet, an aging diesel generation fleet, of which 10 megawatts of generation are past due for retirement.
The extended dry spell has also been identified as a factor for the company's generation shortfall.
This dry spell has really done a number on the hydro system. At its maximum, the hydro is normally capable of giving us, contributing to overall generation between 30 and 35% of generation. Currently, the contribution it can give us because of the no rain, no water, or little water, less than 15%. The hydro can contribute now. The lake level, the freshwater lake level, we all Dominicans, we know the lake, it's currently at 4.95 meters. Its optimum is 8.65 meters.
On Friday, Domlec commissioned 800 kilowatts of generation, which is expected to alleviate load sharing. Mackenzie explained that 2 to 3 megawatts of generation is needed to solve the blackouts. Domlec is expected to lease 2 megawatts of generation by the end of the year. Aliyah Jajak at the Freshwater Lake for Kyrie News.
Thank you, Aliyah. Moving on to matters of diversity and inclusion, members of Dominica's disabled community now have more opportunities to work online. Jansen Hilaire tells us more.
The Work Online Dominica program, which trains individuals on how to source jobs on various platforms, launched its fourth cohort of 60 participants in August. Senior Program Officer with Work Online Dominica, Cornelia Geist, said the move towards inclusivity is a positive step towards equal opportunities for all.
We reached out to the DAPD and we asked them, can they recommend some persons that they think can complete the program, that's able to use the computer, able to learn and able to use their hands and can actually understand certain things.
6 of the 60 young professionals in the Work Online Dominica program live with disabilities. Geist is hopeful that this move will encourage other institutions to embrace disabled individuals.
So we at Israel want to take that first step to start working with DAPD, start working with its members and see how we can accommodate persons with disabilities. And maybe that will give the other institutions, organizations, the push also to create programs or to try to facilitate them one way or the other. Again, they're part of us, they're part of our society, and it's always good that we make accommodations to include them.
Geist confirmed that, in addition to making the technology accessible, these individuals would have aid during the seminars and in accessing resources. Jansen Hilaire for Kyrie TV News.
Thank you, Jansen. Stay tuned for more after the break.
Now, it's considered to be one of the biggest threats to the world's oceans. Delegates from UN member states are gathering in London to confront the problem of plastic pollution. The goal is to agree on a global
If given a chance, your plastic would choose to be put to more beneficial use. Choose recycling.
Thank you for staying with us. President of the Dominica State College, Dr. Donald Peters, steadfastly defends Dominica's electoral system, pledging legal action if the government tries to exclude Dominican diaspora. Electoral reform, spurred by Sir Dennis Byron's recommendation, has sparked debate, particularly on whether overseas Dominicans should vote in general elections. Dr. Peters sees this debate as a flawed, aiming to suppress overseas Dominican voters, as he believes the current electoral system is sound.
There's nothing wrong with the system. In fact, the only problem with our constitution, it violates the Declaration of Human Rights that we signed. This nonsense about you have to come every 5 years, they should take that out. So when you're asking now to 90 days or give them a special constituents, I just think this is mass ignorance, so I just ignore it. And the mere fact that government is spending a whole lot of time discussing electoral reform when there's nothing wrong with the society. And I can say here that if government ever adopt a bill where they prevent anybody from voting, I'll be the first one to take them to court because they're violating the rights of citizens.
Dr. Peters advocates for removing deceased citizens from the voters list and suggests a practical approach to identification, proposing that government-issued IDs like passports, driver's licenses, or social security cards should be sufficient. And a prominent huckster on island is pleading with Dominicans to get more involved in farming to meet export demands. Steve Vidal has this report.
The huckstering trade seems to be very beneficial for a number of farmers, and here we are in a beautiful scenic area of Dominica. We are in Calibishi, and the agricultural industry is thriving a lot in Calibishi. Natasha Paul James of DreamWorks Trading and Exporting Enterprise in Calibishi is one of the island's leading hucksters, accepting a wide array of produce from farmers. She told Kyrie TV there is increasing demand for agricultural produce from Dominica and is encouraging citizens to look at farming as a viable income earner.
The market is growing daily and they keep asking for more food than we are supplying. So that is very good, and I will appreciate everybody that hear my voice and, you know, they can start maybe consider going into agriculture, or, you know, reach out to a friend that is in farming that do not have a market. Let them know that there is a market in Calibishi, that we take almost everything, and they can come and sell and negotiate. Well, we export mainly to Antigua, but we also do maybe once a month to St. Martin, to Tola, St. Thomas.
Smith Williams, a farmer from Woodfordale who grows plantain, pear and tanya, is grateful for the benefit of working with Natasha James.
It used to be very challenging for me. There was a time I felt like giving up, until I got the market with Mrs. Natasha James. Right. One of the advantages is that she pays cash. Right. She gives check and then.
So you're able to now go and.
Yeah, so I can pay my I can pay my workers and buy inputs whenever I can.
The almost weekly delivery of produce to James revived his interest in agriculture.
I'm a retired public servant, so I use some of my pension and so to help me buy inputs and pay some of my workers. Yes. Almost every week I deliver to Mrs. James.
And how do you rate the relationship, the customer relationship?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
All right.
Yeah, because she encouraged me a lot. If it wasn't she, maybe I would give up.
Yeah, because probably you would not have gotten a market for
Definitely. Because about 2 years ago, most of my crops, especially the plantain, were ripening and a lot of waste. So I was really frustrated. But she encouraged me, so that I'm back in the farming full time.
The 3-year-old DreamWorks Trading Enterprise currently pays its farmers upon delivery, a system which many applaud. Paul James says,
well, that is something that I would say that keep this business, DreamWorks Trading, on top of all other competitors in Dominica, because I think we are the only business that pay cash on delivery. So you bring your food to the depot and we do selection. We will select the food because, I mean, you cannot bring up here with Ross and expect to get cash for it. So we'll select the food. Once the food meet the criteria that we're looking at and you agree on the price, we will pay cash for the food. We pay a check system. You can go to the shops, the local shops, they take our check as well, and the financial institution, the credit union in the area from Calibishi to Marigot, they clear the checks.
Lenny Aubrey, known as the Potato Man, is another farmer who supplies to Natasha James and is pleased with the arrangement.
Yeah, man, she pays on time, constantly still buying stuff every week. I mean, although the prices of them price can fix, but it's all right, man.
Aubrey says while there is assistance to farmers, there is always room for improvement.
Well, the challenges we have in agriculture now is basically the inputs and the price of the inputs.
And you're not getting that from the government?
And labor. Huh?
Are you getting inputs sufficient from government, from DAPEX or?
Yes, you're getting inputs, but still
you need something
still need something more, man. I guess they have certain things to the bank where they assist farmers, so it's reasonable, I would say.
You've taken advantage of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's working for you?
Yeah, good.
Okay. DreamWorks Trading and Exporting Enterprise currently exports produce on Mondays and Tuesdays. Steve Vidal, Kyrie TV News.
Thank you, Steve. Here now is tomorrow's weather forecast. I'm Vanessa Bruno on behalf of the entire production team. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.